What's going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to another SLA video. Guys, I know it's been a minute. Let's talk a little bit about the best teams that are currently out now for every single element. That's right, it has now changed officially, and there are some variations you guys can use with Freerun being out now as a collab. A lot has changed, as a matter of fact. Many things have kind of rotated a little bit, and some of you guys may not have the best teams because, of course, we had two collaborations back to back, and some of these units are not available. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about every single one of these guys and talk about what teams you should be using. And don't forget, guys, the library does drop in 2 days. That's right, the Overseer's library, which means you're going to need to have quite a few of your units leveled up in order to go further into it. And the further you go, the higher level you do, the more rewards you'll get along the way, including gold and prisms, etc. Right? So keep that in mind with that coming and dropping very soon. So with that being said, though, before we go any further, guys, I do want to remind folks, don't forget the content creator program is going on. Make sure you click that button, guys. We're going to have 3 active codes for you very soon. We have 2 already. I'll be sending those out on a daily basis for you, so make sure you check it out. I want to say a big shout out to my top 10: J Stowe, BW Panda, Beef Patty, 5442, Blackout 500, Akamu, sorry, I apologize, Connor, 619, 6199, Cami, and 11111. So I don't know who this is. I always forget the NIDs, and I apologize, but I want to say a big shout out to everybody who's supporting. Your codes should be on the way if you haven't got them already. Give me a shout on Discord. I do send them daily, so in case you were missed, I'll make sure I send you one. All right, guys, very simple. Attached to every single description, always pinned to every single comment. Hit that support button, and don't forget to subscribe. Put those notifications on. Let's get on with the show. Now, we do this very often, and there has been quite a bit of a change, right? So let's talk a little bit about what you want to look forward to in the meta. That's right, the meta. And we have various different changes now and upgrades to some of these elements. Now, the only one that's actually stayed the same, so let's just start with them right now and kind of talk about them, is going to be, let's go into the Hunter training mode, is going to be your actual win team. Win team has not changed. So Leonard is still going to be your #1 DPS unit for wind, so you definitely want to use Leonard. Jinna is going to be your main support, right? And where's Leonard here? There he is. So it's my free to play, so I'm just showing you that. And then, of course, over here, you're going to use Goto. So if you have these 3 right here, you have one of the best breakers in the game, one of the best DPS in the game, and one of the best hybrid DPS support units to give wind. Still probably second place right now. That's right, no longer first place. I still say second place. Yes, it is, in my opinion, still better than Water, even with Chaw's upgrade. But with that being said, Water has had a major boost now with the introduction of Freerun. But let's talk a little about the other elements right now. Okay, so first off, let's go to Dark. So next in line will be Dark. So Wind, I'll say, is number 2. Talk about number 1 later. Number 3, I'd say right now, is going to be Dark. So you have a couple of different variations here you can go with. Number 1, Isla is going to be a core support for this team. That's not going to change. You will need to use them. Now, you have a couple options here for your DPS. Okay, you have 3, as a matter of fact. 3 that are actually very good. 1 being the best, 2 very close to number 1, and then 3 not too far off from number 2. So the pecking order is as follows. Okay, it's going to be Sung Il Hwan as your #1 DPS. Number 2 is going to be very close to Sung Il Hwan. Is going to be Mini. Depending on the content, sometimes she conquers. Right now, Sung Il Hwan is a bit better, to be quite honest. And then lastly, again, very close to Mini, is going to actually end up being, believe it or not, one of the oldest units in the game in terms of Silver Main Beck, Yunho. So he is actually kind of come up a lot lately. A lot of people are using him, especially for Guild Boss, and you will see a big damage boost from him. So if you are having an A5 version of him, he's actually worth building and using. And then, of course, for your breaker, you don't have many options, guys. Unfortunately, for this one, Harper still remains as the main breaker, which is very unfortunate because there should have been a replacement. And then just an honorary mention, if you don't have either of these DPS or any 3 of these DPS, you can, of course, rely on on Charlotte, her sister, as your other DPS, but I don't recommend it. She's not bad, don't get me wrong, just the AI doesn't play her well. If you're going to play her by yourself, she is great for casting ultimates and doing a mass amount of burst damage, but just not as good as the first 3. All right, so this is going to be your best team right here going forward for Dark until we get Igris to replace Harper. That's right, Igris, I said it, Igris, January, Dark Breaker should be dropping. So in about 2 months, guys, we have a big unit coming out as a what if unit to go through and help Dark become the better meta. So that's number 3. All right, that's number 3. We're not going to cover number 1. Number 4. All right, so this is kind of a toss up here, okay? And there really isn't a number 4. I'm going to tie it for number 1 right now. I'm going to tie it for number 1. Okay. Water and fire. Very close now. Very close. Now with the introduction of Frieren, you can pretty much put her in any team. Any team. It doesn't really matter. Ideally, though, you want to put her in water to make it a mono team. You get the full score of bonuses with water. Frieren right now is probably the best DPS hybrid support unit in the game. No question about it, actually. It's not in problem. She is. So she can be pretty much placed in any team, but she thrives the most in water, of course. So if you are somebody who is looking to get the best support for water, you absolutely want to summon for her, or overall the best DPS support in the game. So the way that's going to look is it's going to be Surin, Cha, and then, of course, Frieren here. Now, honorary mention, of course, Mei Lin. She's been around for a very, very long time. You can still use her to do well enough with these two, but ideally, Frieren will be in here to boost both, not only her damage, but everyone else's damage as well. So this is a tie for number 1 right now. Now, the reason why it's a tie for number 1 and it's not number 1 is because Fire. Fire has just now got a massive boost, not only because of 1 unit, but 2. And right now, I think Fire technically does have the edge on water. So if we're going to go by order, I guess, we can still make Fire number 1, Water number 2, Wind number 3, Dark number 4, Light number 5. Yeah, number 5. That may change very soon, though. That may change very soon. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about that. We'll talk more about Light after this. The number 1 team right now in the game is going to be as follows, and you guys can do this however you want, however you feel. And there's one very outdated unit, which is very scary because that's how strong this team is. So number 1 unit in the game right now for DPS is going to be Fern. Easily destroys everybody in damage. Yuki is your number 2. That's going to be your breaker. And now if you don't have Yuki, yes, Stark is a great substitute and he's absolutely free to an A5. So you can definitely replace her for that. But Yuki is the better support breaker in this case. So Yuki will be number 2. And then of course your outdated, that's right, very, very outdated unit support is going to be Gina. Now she is a dream for the Fire team. MC Payne. So you absolutely want to use her if you can. You guys can see my Gina is A0. It's been a nightmare for me for Fire. I could have boosted my Fire damage substantially by having her at A5. But hey, it is what it is. I've not been able to pull her, and I did skip her originally because at the time, Fire had nothing going for it except for Choi. It was awful in Yuseyun, right? So honorary mentions here, of course, if you are going to replace her or her for Stark, obviously she'll go for Stark. But for Fern, really, it's not even a competition. But if you had no choice, right, you'd use Kanae and Yuseyun as your DPS. But right now, this is the team that pretty much dominates the entire game. And right now, it could probably take on every single piece of content out there for you with these 3 here. So I think Fern is a no-brainer for summons. Frieren, if you have the capacity for her, is a no-brainer for summons. But picking one or the other is your choice. People have been asking me still. I still give that. Now, Light is the worst team in the game right now. It's unfortunate. Mayun, I don't have her, but she's up there. But it's still going to be Thomas. Still going to be Min. So Thomas, Min, or Akari. Thomas, Min, or Akari. I still think Min is the better choice. And then, of course, Gun He. You guys can see all of these units here. Early access unit, 6-month anniversary unit, 6-month anniversary, 5-month anniversary unit, something like that. All of them are very, very outdated. As a matter of fact, as you go down the list, you see Cha is outdated, right? You see, who else do we have for Light? Akari was the newest unit outside of Mayun. I don't count Mayun because she's, of course, a collab unit that you can't get right now outside of, special means, but she's also there. So right now, Light is in desperate need. Now, we do have Laura coming and dropping very, very soon, which will make the tide turn a bit. And this is why, because you guys see this now on paper, right? This is why I'm very, very reluctant to say that Christopher Reed is only going to be Fire. This is why I'm on the tip that he may be Light, because everyone here just needs a replacement. We need to start Light fresh. So if they're going to give support to Light and people think that Thomas is going to be buffed, and he probably will because of the Light unit of Laura coming out, I do think that Christopher Reed is in turn to replace Thomas as the main DPS for Light, or Gun He as a breaker. Who knows, right? Maybe we're seeing a lot of hybrid breakers come out which do major damage, and we're seeing the same thing with support. So we may see a pretty big change in Light, and they will dominate. So recap that again. So Fire number 1, Water number 2, Wind number 3, Dark number 4, and then lastly Light number 5. All right, so hopefully that gives you guys the full breakdown. Now you know who to build if you are going to build any. Remember, I gave you guys some replacements. For example, not having the collab units, you do have Stark for fire. Not having Mei Yun, you have Thomas, of course. And then not having Mini, you have Sung Il Hwan. So those are pretty much the big ones, right? So everyone else can be replaced. Goto can replace Suyun. And then I think for, who do we have left? Water, we of course have Water Cha. That's what you want to go with. All right, guys, leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think of my team setup. If you guys agree that fire is number one right now, and if you think that light will make a big comeback in the next 2 patches. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.